I welcome you all to the session of hydraulic machines, and in continuation of our last discussion on positive displacement pump, today we shall analyze the fluidic operation using the indicated diagram modified with the two additional effects, that is the inertia effect and the frictional effect or frictional losses of the fluid. Okay. So, our objective today should be to see, rather to analyze the fluid flow through the pump essentially with the objective of developing the total head, rather with the objective of establishing the expression of total head that will be developed by the pump. So, now to do that, again what we need to draw, we need to what we need to do is to draw the schematic depiction of the positive displacement pump. So, if we try to draw the schematic depiction of the positive displacement pump, so I am writing, so positive displacement pump. Okay. So, we will quickly draw the schematic. Which is most important to draw the different mechanical elements which are there both at the suction and delivery line. And I will be using, say this is the liquid. Okay. So, now this is the suction side and one valve will be there here. Now, this is P atmospheric, liquid is moving through this path. Similarly, if we try to draw the say this is the delivery tank, and so here we have to draw the line . Okay. So, again we have to erase it. Okay. So, this is the delivery valve and which is say up to this is filled up, and so this is the liquid column, and as I have used another column, so this is the liquid here. So, this is the height. Now, before going to discuss, let us level different parts. So, this is the delivery pipe, this is delivery tank, this is suction pipe, suction tank, okay. And this is this is pump piston. I did not show the prime mover part, but as I have discussed already that this piston should be operated by a prime mover by using rather through the crank and connecting rod mechanism. Okay. So, now say if this is the middle, so this is the middle of the cylinder, and say this is the liquid. Now, this is what we will level later, and this is the right. Say this is the I will discuss later, right. This is I am giving name, something I will be giving name. Say this is, so this, if this is 0.1, then this height is say ZS and this height is ZD, and this is again I will be giving name later. So, this is 0.1. For the analysis, as I told before that our objective should be to have fluid flow analysis today. So, we need to first know that the liquid is being pumped from 0.1 to 0.4, right, and it is pumped by, rather it is delivered from 0.1 to 0.4 by this pump, and so you can see this is inlet, say this is 0.2. So, this is 0.2, that is inlet, and this is 0.3, that is the outlet. Why we are trying to mark these two places? Because this is the suction valve and this is the delivery valve. Essentially, the suction valve and delivery valve, these two valves are used for the positive displacement of the liquid that will be delivered, right. So, it is not just like the operation of a radial flow pump, wherein we have seen that there is continuous flow from the suction tank to the pump impeller, and there is again continuous flow of liquid from the pump to the other pump impeller to the delivery or discharge points. So, now these 2 points are again critical, we need to know. So, we will be discussing soon. Now, question is, for this analysis, I mean again if we can just try to look at the schematic depiction, we can understand that essentially if we need to pump liquid from 0.1 to 0.4, then we need to input and we need to provide energy to the liquid that will be pumped, right. So, if we just do that, it is the complete system, and essentially you can understand that there is addition of energy. So, liquid will start flowing through the pipe, right, and it will go into the cylinder, and from the cylinder again it will go to the delivery pipe. So, eventually what will happen, you know that there is energy of the liquid at 0.1, there will be again energy of the liquid at 0.4, but if we need to transfer liquid from 0.1 to 0.4, it will not go automatically, that we know, right. So, this is what we have studied from thermodynamics, right. So, we need to give some energy input to the system. Okay. So, for we will be doing that, but before that just I would like to discuss about a few issues which are very important. Now, question is, I have just now said that we need to provide, rather we need to supply energy to the system, right, in the form of work, right. So, you have studied in thermodynamics that energy, heat is also energy, work is also energy. We normally deal in mechanical engineering courses these two, heat and two different forms of energy. So, here when liquid is being transported from point 1 to point 4, we need to give energy to the liquid by using this device in the form of work. Okay. So, now you can understand that say if we have seen the modified indicator diagram, what we have seen? We have seen that there is a change in pressure and volume of the fluid when it is flowing through the pump, right. So, there is a change in pressure as well as volume of the fluid when it is flowing through the pump, fine. So, now if we consider that at instantaneous pressure inside the pump cylinder is P. So, say P is the instantaneous pressure. Okay. Then that is the pressure of the fluid. So, the fluid which is occupying at any moment inside the cylinder, if we consider the P is the instantaneous pressure, then work done by the fluid on the piston because of this pressure will be. So, work done by the fluid on the piston is what? P into, so area, that is the force that we have studied. It is again not the thermodynamic work. Thermodynamic work is work done against the resistive forces, but here something else is work is done by the fluid on the piston. So, because of this instantaneous pressure, that will create a force on the piston, that is P A into, and say if the movement of the piston is delta x. So, that is the movement of piston. Okay. So, this is again instantaneous work done. So, this is W instantaneous. Okay. So, P into A into dx, but see this is a cyclic process, right, because the piston is operated by a prime mover, and that prime mover may be internal combustion engine, or it may be it may be electrically operated motor, but whatever may be the case, we will have spontaneous movement of the what I can say piston, that is reciprocating, that is linear, right. So, the rotary motion will be converted to the linear by using this connecting and crank and connecting rod mechanism. So, now this is basically instantaneous work, but we need to convert that work into the cyclic work. So, basically work done per cycle, that we need to calculate. So, this is at any point instantaneous work, as I said you that this process is spontaneous and this is a cyclic process, right. So, piston will have to and fro movement between two spots, that is the here we are not giving designated spots like inner dead center and outer dead center, or the top dead center and bottom dead center, but still the piston will have the to and fro movement between two designated spots, but this to have this continuous or spontaneous motion, the process should be cyclic. So, basically if we like to calculate cyclic work done, so work done per cycle, that is, since area of the piston is constant, into dx, right. So, that is very important, that is work done per cycle. So, A into P into dx, right. So, why we are trying to frame this equation, because whenever we will be solving numerical problem, then these expressions will be required. Okay. So, now this is work done per cycle. Question is, see you can understand the amount of fluid that will be delivered by the pump. Next our see essentially you are trying to frame a few expression of a few flow parameters. So, this is work done per cycle. Next if we try to write this, what is the liquid volume will be discharged, liquid volume will be discharged by the pump is how much? See whether the amount of liquid that will be discharged by the pump will depend on the what, that is the speed of the pump at which it is operated, right. So, now if we try to look at the expression of that quantity, so what is the amount of liquid that will be handled by the pump that will be delivered by the pump, okay. So, that will definitely depend on the speed of the pump. Now, if we consider that A, this is the cross sectional area of the cylinder into S. So, this is the stroke length. Okay. So, that is, so you can see area into length, that is volume. So, that is the amount of liquid that will be discharged by the pump, right. Now, again this is theoretical discharge, because we did not take into account several effects. I mean we can consider that this is the area of the cross sectional area of the cylinder and this is the stroke length. So, theoretically that will be the volume that will be discharged by the pump, but again it is theoretical, we really do not know that this amount of liquid will be really delivered by the pump or not. Some amount will be, some losses will be there due to leakage or etcetera, that we will discuss later. Okay. Now, you understand, so this is basically V. So, if this is V, so that is N. So, basically I mean what we are telling, that is right. So, A into, so not I can give the name. So, this is, so this is equal to V volume. Okay. Now, if the pump is if the pump is rotating at say n rps revolution per second. So, if we now calculate what will be the theoretical volume discharged by the pump per second. So, if the pump is rotating at n rps, that is n revolution per second, then theoretical volume discharged by the pump should be what? Then Q theoretical should be A S into N, right. So, this is A into S into N, right. So, this is the theoretical discharge, right. So, these are very straightforward. Since this n equal to, we can write, because n is equal to rps, we know the crank speed omega. If we go back to the previous slide, I did not draw the crank and connecting rod today, but from the previous class you can see that this should be connected, I mean this piston will be connected to the crank through connecting rod mechanism, and if the crank is rotating at omega, then this n will be omega by twice pi. So, this is omega, this is crank speed. Okay. So, we can write this is A S omega by 2 pi, right. So, if we go here, then Q theoretical, that is A S into omega by 2 pi, that is V omega by 2 pi, right. So, this quantity is V. So, this is the volume of the liquid. So, this is A that is discharge. So, this is V. So, let me erase it, this quantity is V. Now, why I am trying to write this quantity, right. So, you can see, so this is basically theoretical discharge. Though it is theoretical, as I told you that some amount, some leakage will be there, some amount of liquid will leak through the, I mean if we go back to the previous slide, that some amount when high pressure liquid is getting discharged from the cylinder to the discharge or delivery tank, then some amount or some liquid will leak through the gland of the delivery valve, right. So, definitely we need to take into account that effect, and we will not be getting theoretical discharge, rather we will be getting actual discharge. Fine, that part I will be discussing. What is most important is that, see, the amount of liquid that will be delivered by the pump, does it depend on the pressure of the system in which the pump is working. So, this is very important. See, here this is the system, right, this is the pumping system, and now the expression that we have derived till now, that is the V omega by 2 pi. In this expression we can clearly see that this expression is having this expression is not having any component which is related to pressure. So, basically you can see that when the system is working, so when the system is working, we need to consider losses in the suction pipeline, losses in the delivery pipeline, losses of the liquid in the cylinder, so many things are there. But actually if we can look at this, that the theoretical discharge, rather the discharge that will be discharge from the pump does not depend on the pressure of the system against the pump is working or against it is working. So, what we have seen, now if we try to draw the H cube curve, that is very important. So, this is H cube curve of the reciprocating pump or positive displacement pump in general. So, you can understand that for the radial flow pump we have discussed many times that the H cube curve will be having continuously drooping characteristics. So, with increasing Q, H will drop. Here, since it does not depend on the pressure, rather we will be getting, so if I try to draw using different line, say I am using this line. So, say this is Q theoretical, so we will be getting the vertical line. So, this is Q theoretical. Essentially it will depend on the stroke length and omega. So, this depends, this quantity on the stroke length and omega. So, by tuning these two parameters, that is stroke length, so that is a geometric parameter of the pump, and also the operational parameter, that is the speed of the crank, and that is definitely the speed of the prime mover, we can tune the Q theoretical. So, maybe someone is looking for this is the Q, or someone may go for another Q by changing the omega and stroke length. But this is basically vertical line which is parallel to H, that is very important. So, this is the H cube curve, but again I am telling this is theoretical curve, this is theoretical. So, this is not actual, so this is theoretical one. Right. And as I said you that if we now go back to the schematic, now you can see that at the end of the delivery stroke, rather towards the end of the delivery stroke, when pressure inside the cylinder will be very very high, right, and that pressure will be able to overcome the force required to lift the valve up, and the liquid will eventually go to the delivery tank. At that pressure some liquid will leak through the gland of the valve, and as a result of which at high head, so initially head will be, so at high head if I try to superimpose this one, say using red color, so this will be the curve. So, this is actual, right. So, this is actual H cube curve. So, this is the H cube curve of the positive displacement pump in particular, and positive displacement pump in general, and reciprocating pump in particular, and this is basically loss due to leakage. So, at high head, and that is quite obvious that I mean it will depend at very high head. Again I am telling, when piston is reaching towards the end of the delivery stroke, that time some amount of liquid will leak through the gland of the delivery valve, and the flow rate that I will be getting, that is not the theoretical one. And sometimes this quantity, say if this is called L, this loss is also known as slip. So, sometimes in fluid machines course, it is this loss is given by slip factor. So, you can understand from there. Now, we can write that eta efficiency of the pump of definitely. So, basically Q theoretical that we have seen, that is the expression V omega by 2 pi, but in real applications we will not be getting Q theoretical, rather we will be getting Q actual, and the ratio of these two flow rates is known as volumetric efficiency of the pump, and it is known as eta V, right. And as I told you that, so that means Q theoretical is Q actual plus something, right. So, that is here Q theoretical is greater than Q actual, right. So, if we go to the next slide, now eta V, that is Q actual divided by Q theoretical, and Q theoretical equal to Q actual plus say Q prime, small q prime, capital Q prime, right. So, this theoretical is greater than Q A. So, that is something. Now, as I said that the losses due to leakage is also sometime is expressed by this quantity which is known as slip factor. Slip factor equal to Q prime divided by Q theoretical. So, we are supposed to get this amount of flow rate or discharge when the positive displacement pump is working in the system, but this amount of liquid will not be discharged, that will go back to the pump, or it will be this is due to the leakage. So, if we try to write, so this is nothing but Q theoretical minus Q actual divided by Q theoretical. So, this is basically 1 minus slip factor. So, this is Q by Q actual by Q theoretical. So, this is 1 minus eta V. So, this is efficiency of the volumetric efficiency of the pump. So, slip factor S. So, this is again very important, it may be required when we shall be solving a few numerical problems on this particular pump. So, basically you can see, so we have established the expression of the slip factor. Now, which is most important, in fact I wanted to discuss today is the fluid flow analysis. So, basically you can understand that these are the flow parameters that we have just discussed, and we have tried to establish the mathematical expression. Now, you can see that what is happening. So, again think it that liquid is getting displaced from point 1 to point 4 by using this pump. So, the liquid cannot go automatically to point 4 until and unless we are providing some energy as the input energy to the liquid, and that is what is done by using this pump. So, if we consider the total, this total system, all the I can say all the components, rather if we take suction tank, suction pipe, pump, delivery valve and delivery tank, if we integrate all these components together to form a system, and if we do the energy balance of the system, then we can write. So, integrating all the components associated with the operation of the positive displacement pump, we can frame a system, and if we do the energy analysis, then we can write that very simple energy at 1 plus energy at 2 equal to energy at 3 plus energy at 4, right. So, this is very important, right. So, what I will try to do, so say, right. So, this is very important. Okay. Now, see, if we go back to the previous slide, energy at 1 and energy at 2, I mean only the frictional loss will be there. So, if we need to go for that, we need to go for a separate analysis. So, if we try to calculate energy at point 1, we can. If we would like to calculate energy at point 2, then we have to, and energy at point 3, then at least what we need to do, we also need to consider the, I mean separate analysis for the suction side and the delivery side, right. So, using this, if we try to calculate, then we need to go for separate analysis for both the suction and delivery sides, right. We shall be doing that, and that will be very much important to understand, but before going so, let us consider following this, can we write that energy at 1 plus, so analysis of the suction side and delivery side will give us some physical insights, and that will be very much required from the pump operational point of view. We shall be doing that, but for the time being, what we can do, we can write energy at point 1 plus work done by the pump equal to energy at point 4 plus losses. This is very simplified analysis, right. So, if we look at the first one, we need to go for the separate analysis of the suction and delivery side, and that is very important, and that will give us physical insights. We will be doing that, but what is this? It is a gross analysis we can do, considering that all the components required for the operation of this pumping system, for the from this pumping unit. So, integrating all the components to frame a system, if we integrate all the components to frame a system, and if we do the gross energy balance of that particular system, we can write this, right. So, now if we focus on this particular point first, and then what we can write. So, you can understand. So, energy at point 1, which is associated with the flow of fluid, energy at point 1, that is liquid is flowing from the tank to the suction pipe. So, energy associated with the flow of fluid, which energy is allowing liquid to flow from the suction tank to the suction pipe. So, you have studied in fluid mechanics. So, at point 1, I am writing energy of the flowing fluid. So, that is also known as flow energy. So, you know that it can be written simply. So, I can give you an example, say you have a pipe and this is the average velocity at this section, and if the velocity if the cross sectional area is A, right. So, then if this is the fluid is flowing through the pipe, the cross sectional area is A, and if the liquid density is rho, and the energy required to make the flow in presence of pressure. So, this is the pressure uniform that is acting. So, that is P, and if the liquid has displaced this small displacement, say dx, right. So, because of this pressure, velocities, if we consider uniform, the average velocity, and the liquid moves a small displacement dx, then and if the A is the cross sectional area, then energy required to maintain the flow in presence of pressure, that is P A into dx divided by rho per unit mass. So, energy of the flowing fluid per unit mass. If we write per unit mass, it is better to write all quantities per unit mass. So, per unit mass rho into A into dx. So, volume into this rho is the density. So, you will be getting P by rho. So, this is what you have studied in fluid mechanics, this is known as flow energy per unit mass. So, this is the energy, this is the amount of energy to energy, this is the amount of energy. So, this is the amount of energy required to maintain the flow in presence of the pressure P, right. So, P by rho. So, you can write this is P by rho. So, this is P ATM by rho. So, now you see this is P atmospheric. So, this is P ATM by rho. So, in presence of atmospheric pressures, in presence of the atmospheric pressure, energy required to maintain the flow from the suction tank to the suction pipe is P ATM by rho, right, fine. Now, work done by the pump, is, say I really do not know, but say this pump is developing head H. So, if we write, so per unit mass, of course, we have to write G into H. So, this is the head developed by the pump. Okay. So, this is the head developed by the pump. So, this is work done by the pump per unit mass of flowing fluid per unit mass, right. So, what we have written? We have calculated this, we have calculated this. So, what is energy at point 4? Again if we go to the schematic. So, now the delivery tank, again it is atmospheric pressure, open to atmosphere. So, the liquid is continuously going to the delivery tank against this pressure. So, whatever example that I took just here is that as if this is the delivery valve and you have this is the delivery tank, and there is a continuous flow to the delivery tank against this pressure P atmospheric. So, what is the work done? So, again what I can say, at point 4 energy of the flowing fluid per unit mass. What will be the expression? So, you understand here, if the this is, I mean, you can understand. So, this is point 1 and this is point 4. So, what is the distance between point 1 and 4? That is ZD plus ZS. So, we have written. So, energy is eventually flowing from point 1 to point 4. So, now we have calculated already energy of the flowing fluid at point 1 per unit mass. Energy, that the work done by the pump per unit mass of the flowing fluid, and because of that work done we are getting some higher amount of energy at point 4. So, if you like to calculate energy at point 4, that is nothing but G into, I mean what will be the expression? That will be at point 4 energy of the flowing fluid per unit mass. What will be the expression? G Z plus G into H, right. So, I mean when the liquid is entering into the delivery tank, the amount of energy is required should be the work done by the pump as well as the energy as well as liquid has traversed from point 1 to 4. So, that energy also is having. So, when the liquid has traversed a distance from point 1 to point 4, for that per unit mass of the flowing fluid energy is G into Z plus work done by the pump. So, at point 4 energy is the energy supplied by the pump to the liquid in terms of the work transfer plus energy which is there because of the transportation of liquid from point 1 to point 4, right. So, this is G Z plus G H, and whatever the losses. So, we can consider losses is G into H S plus H D. So, we have to consider losses both at the suction and delivery side. So, if we just sum up, so we can write here losses is fine, sorry that is pen. So, this is losses and energy at point 4, we can write this like this G into Z plus P A by rho, right. So, this is I am removing now. See, question is the at point 4 energy of the flowing fluid per unit mass. So, this is the work done by the pump, right, and this is the amount of energy required to maintain the flow. That is what I had shown over here, that if this is the delivery tank and then there is a continuous flow. So, the amount of energy required to maintain the flow in presence of that atmospheric pressure, and that is P A by rho, and this is the work done by the pump. So, basically if we sum up all this, we can write P A by rho plus G into H equal to G into Z, that is nothing but Z D plus I will be writing plus P A by rho plus G into summation of H S summation of H D. So, losses, all losses both at the suction and delivery side, right. So, we can write that H equal to Z plus summation of H S summation of H D, right. So, this is the expression of head that is developed by the pump. Here Z equal to ZS plus ZD. So, that is ZS plus ZD. Okay. So, till now we have been able to establish the expression of the head that will be developed by the pump, that is nothing but Z plus Hs plus Hd. By how we have arrived over here, rather arrived at this a place. So, we have arrived here, rather we got the expression of this equation which is giving us the head that will be developed by the pump is Z plus Hs plus Hd, and we got it by having a gross energy balance approach, rather which is obtained following the gross energy balance approach of the system or the pumping system. And to do that, we have considered, rather we have integrated all the mechanical elements, all the mechanical components together to frame the system, right. And what is most important over here is that we have understood that PATM by rho, that is the flow energy, the energy of the flowing fluid per unit mass. So, that is the energy required per unit mass of the flow, rather to maintain the flow in presence of pressure. This is basically work done by the pump, per unit mass of the flowing fluid, because if we consider H is the head, that will be head developed by the pump. We really do not know what is the H, what is H. This is very important at point 4. So, you can see at, I am repeating this part, at point 4 energy should be energy supplied by the pump, that is G into Z, plus the energy required to transport liquid from point 1 to 4. Now, if the head developed by the pump, if that includes all, so that is why we had written initially, that is G Z plus G into H, but that H, I mean, will include all those things. So, head developed by the pump, that is the losses in both in the suction and delivery line, but instead of writing that expression what we did, now if you simply see that here the at point 4 the Gz that that the G into Z that is there. So, at point 4 Gz is there, that is to transport liquid from point 1 to point 4, that is there G into Z, plus the energy required to maintain the flow at this particular section if it is the delivery valve. So, if it is the delivery valve and this is the atmospheric pressure, you can understand that work, rather the energy required to maintain the flow in presence of this pressure is, that is Pa by rho. So, here work done by the pump we are not going to consider, because that we have already considered in expression in this expression. So, what I had written initially that, so ideally you will find that energy at point 4 is what do you mean by that? Energy at point 4 is nothing but energy required, I mean energy we have already invested to transfer energy, to transport liquid from point 1 to point 4, plus the energy that is being supplied by the pump to the liquid, and that is why initially I had written this part. But since we are going to have energy balance, and that is, and it is very simple, that energy at point 1 plus energy energy supplied by the pump is equal to energy at point 4. So, that will be kind of duplication, and that is why, I mean if we consider again in this expression that the energy supplied by the pump to the fluid, that will be duplication. So, as if now energy at point 4 is nothing but the Gz, that is the, I mean that is the energy required, I mean if we supply liquid from point 1 to point 4, and that is the stored energy of the fluid at point 4, plus this is the flow energy required to the energy required of the flowing fluid per unit mass. So, considering this, we have arrived here, and this gives us the head that will be developed by this pump. Now, which is very important to discuss over here is that see in this, if we use rather if we follow this approach, we have rather will be we can express the head that will be developed by the pump, but this analysis does not provide us an important point that should be looked into. What is that? You know that if we go back to the previous class, wherein we have discussed that when piston traverses its journey from the inner end of the cylinder to the outer end, rather first half of this suction stroke, then inside the cylinder pressure falls below the atmospheric pressure, and that is why the liquid is getting transported from point 1 to the rather into the cylinder. Question is, we really do not know what is the pressure at point 2, right. So, in this circuit you have seen that we have shown that this is the manometer that is connected to the suction pipeline. Now, if the pressure inside this cylinder will be definitely less than atmospheric pressure. If that is the case, then pressure at point 2 also will be less than the atmospheric pressure, right. Now, if pressure at point 2 falls below the vapor pressure at that corresponding temperature, then cavitation will start, that we have studied. So, definitely pressure at point 2 must be less than atmospheric pressure, but we should be careful while designing the pumping system that the pressure at point 2 should not go beyond the vapor pressure at that corresponding temperature, that temperature of the fluid or temperature of the ambient in which the pump is installed. So, if we need to know that, what we need to do? We need to go for the analysis, rather we need to go for a separate analysis both at the suction and delivery site, and that is why I had written over here that energy at point 1 plus energy at point 2 is equal to energy at point 3 plus energy at point 4. So, that means we need to know what is the energy at point 2, and if we try to look at the expression of energy at point 2, probably that will give us an indication the expression of pressure, rather that will give us an indication about the magnitude of pressure, and we will be able to understand whether the pressure will be below the vapor pressure or not. So, for that we need to go for separate analysis both the suction and delivery side, and that will take up in the next class. Thank you.